The ship appeared without warning. One moment the sky above Seoul was clear and blue, and the next moment, a shadow fell across the city. People stopped in the streets and looked up. They saw something that blocked the sun itself. The vessel was enormous. It stretched for kilometers, a mountain of metal and light hanging in the sky. Smaller ships flew around it like insects around a giant. The whole world watched as the broadcast went live on every screen, every phone, every device that could receive a signal. Admiral Park Do-hoon stood in the command center of Earth's defense headquarters. He was a tall man, with gray hair and a face that showed nothing of what he felt inside. He had served in the military for 30 years. He had seen wars and disasters and things that would break most men, but he had never seen anything like this. "They are requesting to speak with our leaders," said one of his officers. Park nodded slowly. "Tell them we are listening." The message came through moments later. A face appeared on the main screen. It was not human. The creature had pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Its head was smooth and tall. When it spoke, its voice was calm and musical, like someone who had never known fear or doubt. "People of Earth," the creature said, "I am Counselor Valeth of the Galactic Council. We come to you with great news. Your species has been selected for integration into our community of worlds. This is a rare honor. Most species wait thousands of years for such an invitation. You should feel grateful." Park watched the screen without moving. He had read the reports. Earth's intelligence agencies had been gathering information about the galaxy for decades, ever since the first alien signals were detected. They knew about the Council. They knew about integration. And they knew what it really meant. Ambassador Yoon Nari arrived at the command center within the hour. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a quick mind. She had spent her career negotiating with the most difficult people on Earth. Now she would negotiate with something far more dangerous. "What do we know?" she asked Park. "They want to meet, face to face, on their ship." Yoon studied the image of the massive vessel still hanging over the city. "Then we will go to them." The shuttle that carried them up to the council ship was small and fast. Yoon sat in silence, reviewing everything she knew. The Galactic Council had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 50,000 years. 12 elder species made up its membership. They called themselves protectors and guides. They said they helped younger species grow and develop. But the truth was different. Every species that accepted integration lost something. First, they lost their weapons. Then, they lost their ships. Then, they lost their right to travel freely. Within a few generations, they lost their homeworlds. They became scattered, dependent, and forgotten. The Council called it protection. Yoon called it something else. The inside of the Council ship was beautiful and cold. The walls glowed with soft light. The air smelled clean and empty, like a hospital or a tomb. Counselor Veleth waited for them in a great hall. Other aliens stood around him, watching the humans with curious eyes. "Welcome," Veleth said. He smiled, or at least his face made a shape that might have been a smile. "Please, sit. We have much to discuss." Yoon sat across from him. Park stood behind her, his hands clasped behind his back. Other members of the human delegation filled the seats around them. "Let me explain what integration means," Veleth said. "Your species is young. You have made remarkable progress, but you are also dangerous. You fight among yourselves. You damage your own planet. You build weapons that could destroy everything you have created. We can help you." "Alaiden, we can help you." "Help us how?" "We will share our technology. We will teach you to travel between stars. We will protect you from the dangers of the galaxy. In return, you will join our community. You will follow our laws. You will allow us to guide your development. And if we refuse?" Veleth's smile faded just a little. "No species has ever refused. Integration is not a punishment. It is a gift. You would be foolish to reject it." Yoon nodded slowly. We would like time to consider your offer. We must consult with our leaders. Of course, Velith said. We are patient. But do not take too long. The galaxy is a dangerous place for species that stand alone. The shuttle ride back to Earth was quiet. Park stared out the window at the blue curve of the planet below. Yoon sat with her eyes closed, thinking, They expect us to say yes, Park said finally. Everyone always says yes, Yoon replied. That is the problem. The meeting in Seoul brought together the most powerful people on Earth. Presidents and generals, scientists and diplomats. All of them crowded into a room deep underground. The discussion lasted for hours. Some argued for acceptance. The Council's technology could solve so many problems. Their protection could keep Earth safe, but others disagreed. Dr. Kang Jisoo, the lead scientist of Earth's secret weapons program, showed them the data. She was a quiet woman who rarely spoke in meetings, but when she did, people listened. Look at the pattern, she said. Every species that integrates follows the same path. They become dependent on Council technology. They lose the ability to build their own. They are relocated away from their homeworlds. Within 300 years, their populations decline. Within 500 years, they are gone. Gone? Someone asked. Not dead. Just absorbed. They become workers for the Council. Servants. They lose their culture, their history, their identity. They become nothing. The room fell silent. Admiral Park stood up. We have been preparing for this day, for a long time, he said. We knew someone would come eventually. We knew they would make demands. And we decided, years ago, that we would not submit, not to anyone, not ever. President Moon So-hee, the leader of Earth's united government, looked around the room. She was a calm woman who thought carefully before she spoke. Are we agreed, then? All of us? One by one, the leaders of Earth nodded. Then we know what we must do, the president said. We will give them our answer. And we will show the galaxy what humanity really is. Ambassador Yoon left the room with her orders. She would return to the Council ship. She would speak to Councillor Velith and all his kind. And she would say the word that no species had ever spoken to the Galactic Council in 50,000 years. No. The preparations began immediately. Ships moved into position. Weapons were armed. Communications channels were open to every corner of Earth. Whatever happened next, humanity would face it together. And high above the planet, the Council ship waited, certain of the answer it would receive, certain that the humans would be like all the others, grateful, obedient, afraid. They were wrong. The shuttle rose through the clouds for the second time. Ambassador Yoon Nari sat in the same seat as before. But everything else was different. This time, Admiral Park Do-hun sat beside her in full military uniform. Behind them sat 12 soldiers from Earth's elite guard, their faces hard and their eyes steady. This time, humanity was not coming to listen. Every screen on Earth showed the live broadcast. Every screen on the Council ship did the same. And across the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds, other species watched too. They had heard rumors. They had heard that the humans had asked for time to think. Now they wanted to see what these strange creatures from the small blue planet would say. The great hall on the Council ship was fuller than before. Councillor Velith sat in the center, his pale blue face calm and confident. Around him sat other Council members. Councillor Morthax was there. A large creature with thick gray skin and small, angry eyes. He was known for his love of war and his hatred of weakness. He looked at the humans like they were insects that had crawled into his home. Welcome back, Velith said. We are pleased you have returned so quickly. The Council is ready to hear your acceptance. Yoon stood in the center of the hall. The lights were bright above her. She could feel the eyes of a galaxy watching. She took a slow breath. Councillor Velith, she said. Members of the Galactic Council, we thank you for your offer. We understand that you believe you are helping us. We understand that you have done this many times before with many other species." She paused. The hall was completely silent. "But we must refuse." The silence broke. Whispers spread through the alien audience like wind through tall grass. Valith's face changed. His calm expression cracked just a little, showing something underneath. Surprise, confusion, and maybe the smallest bit of fear. "Refuse?" he said. "Perhaps you do not understand what you are saying." "We understand perfectly," Yoon said. "We have studied the history of integration. We know what happens to species that accept your protection." She pressed a button on the device in her hand. Images appeared in the air above her, floating for everyone to see. Worlds. Peoples. Civilizations. "The Voric," she said. "A species of builders and artists. They accepted integration 8,000 years ago. Their population was 14 billion. Today, less than 2 million remain. They have no homeworld. They build nothing. They create nothing. They exist only to serve." She changed the image. "The Dinara. A species of scientists and explorers. Integrated 12,000 years ago. They once traveled to the edges of the galaxy. Now they are not permitted to leave their assigned stations. Their children are taught only what the Council allows." Another image. "The Hollow. The Sistren. The Keth. The Moravi." The list goes on and on. Every species that joins you follows the same path. You do not protect them. You consume them. Slowly, quietly. Until nothing remains but empty shells. Counselor Morthax stood up. His voice was deep and rough. "You dare to insult us? You are nothing. Your species has existed for the blink of an eye. You have no ships, no technology, no power. You should be on your knees thanking us for this opportunity." Admiral Park stepped forward. He stood beside Yoon, and when he spoke, his voice was calm and cold. "Earth does not kneel," he said. "Not to you. Not to anyone." The hall erupted in noise. Aliens shouted and argued. Some called for the humans to be arrested. Others demanded they be thrown out into space. But Yoon stood perfectly still, waiting for the storm to pass. Finally, Valith raised his hand. The noise stopped. "You are making a terrible mistake," he said. "The galaxy is not a safe place. There are threats you cannot imagine. Dangers you cannot face alone. Without our protection, you will be destroyed." "Then we will be destroyed on our feet," Yoon said. "Not on our knees." She looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of every alien who watched. "Let me be clear," she said. "Earth does not seek war with the Council. We do not wish to be your enemy. We only wish to be free. We ask for nothing but the right to determine our own future. We will build our own ships. We will develop our own technology. We will make our own mistakes and learn from them. This is what it means to be human. We grow through struggle. We become stronger through challenge. Take that away from us, and you take away everything we are." She paused. Her voice softened just a little. "Perhaps someday we will work together. Perhaps someday there will be true friendship between our peoples. But that day will only come when you learn to see us as equals. Not children to be guided, not animals to be tamed. Equals." Counselor Morthax laughed. It was an ugly sound. Yoon smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "Then we will learn," she said. "On our own." She turned to leave. Park and the soldiers followed her. But before she reached the door, Velith called out, "If you do this, there will be consequences. The Council will not simply allow you to defy us. There will be a blockade. Your system will be cut off from all galactic trade. You will be alone." Yoon stopped. She turned back to face him one last time. "We have always been alone," she said. "We are used to it." And then she was gone. The broadcast ended. Across Earth, People stood in silence, processing what they had just witnessed. Then, the cheering began. In cities and villages, in homes and streets, humans celebrated. They did not know what would come next. They did not know what price they would pay. But they knew one thing for certain. They had stood up. They had refused to surrender. They had looked into the face of the most powerful force in the galaxy and said no. And across the galaxy, on worlds that had suffered under council rule for thousands of years, other beings watched too. They had seen something they thought was impossible. They had seen someone stand against the council and walk away. They began to wonder. If the humans could do it, maybe they could too. In the great hall of the council ship, Velith sat alone. His face was no longer calm. He looked at the empty space where the human ambassador had stood, and for the first time in his very long life, he felt something he did not understand. It was doubt. The council had ruled for 50,000 years. They had never been challenged. They had never been questioned. They had never been refused. Now they had, and deep in his ancient mind, Counselor Velith began to realize that everything was about to change. The blockade began 3 days after humanity's rejection. Council ships surrounded the solar system like a net, hundreds of vessels forming a wall that nothing could pass through. No trade ships, no information, no contact with the outside galaxy. The Council expected Earth to starve. They expected panic. They expected the humans to come crawling back within a few months, begging for forgiveness. They did not understand humans at all. Admiral Park Do-hoon stood in the command center, watching the tactical display. Red dots showed the positions of Council ships. They covered every approach, every route, every path out of the system. It was impressive. It was thorough. And it would not work. They think this will break us, he said. Dr. Kang Jisoo stood beside him. She was still wearing her laboratory coat, as if she had come straight from her work. In her hands, she held a tablet, filled with calculations and diagrams. They think we are helpless, she said. They think we have nothing. Do we? Kang smiled. It was a rare thing to see. We have been preparing for this for 40 years. We have things they cannot imagine. Ground, deep beneath the surface of Earth, in laboratories that did not officially exist, humanity's brightest minds had been working in secret. They knew the Council would come someday. They knew there would be a confrontation. And they knew that when that day arrived, Earth would need to be ready. The first secret was the drives. Engineer Han Mirai had spent her entire career trying to solve the problem of faster-than-light travel. The Council had this technology, but they never shared it with integrated species. They kept everyone dependent, unable to travel without Council permission. But Han had found another way. Our drives work on different principles, she explained to the military council. The Council uses space-folding technology. They bend space to move from one point to another. We use something else. We slip between dimensions. It is faster, more efficient, and completely undetectable by their sensors. Undetectable? Park asked. They will not see us coming or going. We can pass through their blockade like ghosts. The second secret was the weapons. Dr. Kang had studied Council technology for decades. She had found weaknesses. Their shields operated on specific frequencies. Their ships were built to defend against certain types of attack. They had not changed their designs in thousands of years because they had never needed to. No one had ever truly fought back. Our weapons will cut through their defenses, Kang said. They will not understand what is happening. They will not know how to stop it. The third secret was the network. For years, Earth's intelligence agencies had been making contact with other species. Quietly. Carefully. There were many who hated the Council, but were too afraid to act. There were many who remembered what their people had been before integration, and dreamed of being free again. These were Earth's hidden allies. One of them was called Ceres. She was a member of a species that had been integrated over 10,000 years ago. She worked as a technician on a Council station. Invisible, and ignored. But she had access to information, and she had decided to share it. Her message arrived through hidden channels, encoded in ways that Council monitors could not detect. "The Council is not united," the message said. "There are those who fear you. There are those who want peace. Councillor Velith is losing support, but Councillor Morthax is gaining it. He is pushing for military action. He wants to make an example of Earth." Park read the message twice. "Military action. They will attack us. Eventually." "President," Moon So-hee said. She had joined the meeting, her face calm but her eyes serious. "But not yet. First, they will wait for the blockade to weaken us. When they think we are desperate, they will strike. Then we must show them that we are not weak," Park said. The months passed. The Council waited for Earth to collapse. They waited for food shortages and riots and chaos. They waited for desperate messages begging for help. Instead, they saw something else. Earth's economy adapted. Resources were redistributed. Scientists found new ways to grow food and generate energy. People worked together with a unity they had never shown before. There was no panic. There was no chaos. There was only determination. And then the ships began to appear. Council monitors detected them first. Small vessels emerging from nowhere, appearing suddenly in systems far from Earth. They carried supplies and information. They made contact with resistance groups on integrated worlds. They delivered messages from humanity to the oppressed peoples of the galaxy. "You are not alone," the messages said. "You can be free. We will help you." Councillor Morthax was furious. He stood before the Council and demanded action. "They are moving through our blockade like it does not exist," he shouted. "They are spreading propaganda throughout the galaxy. They are making us look weak. We must crush them now, before this infection spreads further." Councillor Velith tried to remain calm. "We must be careful. We do not fully understand their capabilities. Perhaps we should negotiate. Perhaps we should find a peaceful solution." "Peace?" Morthax laughed. "There can be no peace with creatures like these. They have defied us. They have insulted us. They must be destroyed. Completely, so that no other species ever thinks of doing the same." The vote was close, but Morthax won. The Council authorized military action against humanity. A fleet would be sent to attack Earth's outer colonies. The strike would be fast and overwhelming. It would show the galaxy what happened to those who challenged Council authority. On Earth, the warning came through Ceres and other hidden sources. Admiral Park gathered his commanders. Captain Baek Sunho, commander of Earth's flagship Sovereignty, stood ready to lead the defense. "They are coming," Park told them. "They think we are weak. They think we will crumble at the first attack. We will show them how wrong they are." General Shin Tae-won, the commander of Earth's ground forces, nodded. He was an old soldier who had fought in the last great war on Earth. He had seen what humans could do when their survival was at stake. "Let them come," he said. "They will learn." Far away, the Council fleet assembled. Hundreds of warships, the largest military force used in thousands of years. They were confident. They were certain. They had never lost a battle. They had never even been challenged. They flew toward Earth's colonies with the certainty of victory. And in the darkness of space, waiting for them, the humans prepared their welcome. Engineer Han checked her drive systems one final time. Dr. Kang loaded her weapons programs. Captain Baek stood on the bridge of the Sovereignty and looked out at the stars. "They think they know us," he said quietly. "They think they understand what we are capable of." He smiled. "They have no idea." The colony on Titan had been home to 300,000 humans. It was one of Earth's first settlements beyond the home planet. There were cities under domes, factories that built ships, families that had lived there for generations. It was not a military target. It was a home. The Council fleet came anyway. Fleet Commander Yovar led the attack force. He was an experienced officer who had commanded hundreds of operations over his long career. He had never lost. He had never even been truly tested. The species the Council fought against always surrendered quickly. They saw the size of Council fleets, and they gave up hope. Yovar expected the humans to do the same. Lieutenant Cho Unji was on patrol when the alarm came. She was a fighter pilot, one of the best in Earth's defense force. She had trained for years, running simulations, practicing maneuvers, preparing for a day she hoped would never come. Now it was here. Multiple contacts emerging from fold space, the warning said. Council warships. Hundreds of them. Heading for Titan, Unji turned her ship toward the colony. Around her, other pilots did the same. They were few. The Council fleet was enormous, but they flew anyway. All defenders, she said, over the communication channel. This is Lieutenant Cho. We need to buy time for evacuation. Protect the transports. Do not let them reach the civilians. The first wave of Council fighters came screaming toward them. They were fast and numerous, filling the space around Titan like angry insects. Unji dove into them without hesitation. Her ship was smaller than theirs but quicker. She weaved between enemy fighters, firing short bursts that found their targets with perfect accuracy. Council ships exploded around her, but there were too many. For every one she destroyed, 10 more took its place. Transport Alpha is away, someone reported. Transport Beta is loading. Keep them covered, Unji ordered. A Council fighter got behind her. She felt the impact of weapons fire against her shields. Warning lights flashed. She pulled her ship into a tight spin, reversed direction, and destroyed her attacker with a single shot. But her shields were failing. Her ship was damaged. She did not stop. Below her, on the surface of Titan, the evacuation continued. Families ran to transports. Children cried. Parents carried what little they could. The colony they had built over decades would be lost. But the people could be saved. If the defenders could hold long enough. Specialist Ryu Hajun sat in the communications center on the lead transport. He was young, barely 25. But he had a gift for finding information in the noise of space. He had intercepted Council battle plans weeks ago, giving Earth time to prepare. Now he listened to the enemy communications, looking for anything that could help. Commander Yovar is moving the capital ships into bombardment position, he reported. They are going to destroy the colony from orbit. How long? Unji asked. Minutes. Unji looked at her tactical display. Most of her fellow pilots were gone, their ships destroyed or disabled. She was nearly alone, and the great Council warships were moving into position, their massive weapons powering up to burn Titan's surface clean. She thought about running. Her ship was fast enough. She could escape, live to fight another day. It would be the smart thing to do. She turned toward the Council flagship instead. Transport Beta is away, someone reported. Transport Gamma is the last one. They need 2 more minutes. They will have them, Unji said. She flew straight at Commander Yovar's ship. Her weapons would do nothing against a vessel that size. She knew that. But she would make them look at her. She would make them react to her. She would give her people those 2 minutes. The flagship's defense guns turned toward her. The space around her filled with fire. She dodged and weaved, pushing her damaged ship beyond its limits. Pieces broke off. Systems failed, but she kept flying. And then, behind the Council fleet, space itself seemed to tear open. Ships emerged, human ships. The Sovereignty led them. Captain Baek Sunho, standing on the bridge with his hands clasped behind his back. Behind him came dozens more, their hulls dark, their weapons glowing with strange energy. They had arrived through Engineer Han's dimensional drives, appearing from nowhere, bypassing the entire Council blockade. They came in fast and silent. And they came with weapons the Council had never seen before. All ships, Admiral Park's voice came through every channel. Engage. The first volley hit the Council fleet before they even knew what was happening. Doctor, Kang's weapons cut through their shields like they were not there. Warships that had seemed invincible moments ago now burned and broke apart. The Council fighters turned to face this new threat, but they were too slow. too confused. Commander Yovar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His ships were dying. His fleet was being torn apart. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be helpless. They were not supposed to have weapons like this. All ships, retreat, he ordered. Fall back, fall back. But the humans did not let them go. Captain Bake pursued the fleeing council ships with cold precision. His vessel moved faster than anything they had. He cut off escape routes and destroyed engines. He did not kill unless he had to. He wanted prisoners. He wanted ships. By the time it was over, 3 council warships had been captured intact. Commander Yovar himself was taken prisoner. The rest of the fleet fled into fold space, running back to council territory with warnings of what they had seen. Lieutenant Cho Unji was found drifting in her destroyed fighter. She was badly injured but alive. The medics said it was a miracle. She said it was stubbornness. Admiral Park addressed the fleet after the battle. His face was on every screen, his voice calm and steady. Today we showed the galaxy something important, he said. We showed them that we will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not surrender our freedom, no matter the cost. The council thought they could crush us with one blow. They were wrong, and now they know it. Across the galaxy, the footage spread. Recordings of the battle passed from world to world, from species to species. They saw the council fleet arrive in overwhelming force. They saw it destroyed and driven away by a species that was supposed to be primitive and weak. On integrated worlds, beings who had given up hope began to feel something new. They saw the humans fight and win against impossible odds. They remembered what their ancestors had been before the council came. They began to whisper to each other, if the humans could do it, maybe we can too. On Earth, there was celebration, but also determination. They had won one battle. But the war was just beginning. The council would come back. They would come with more ships, more weapons, more fury. Humanity had to be ready. President Moon So-hee spoke to the people. We did not ask for this conflict, she said. We only wanted to be free. But freedom must be defended. It must be fought for. And we will fight for it, together, until the last star goes dark. In his cell on the Sovereignty, Commander Yovar sat alone. He had been defeated by creatures he had considered beneath notice. His entire understanding of the galaxy had been shattered. He had thought the council was invincible. Now he knew better. And in the halls of council power, Councillor Morthax raged, while Councillor Velith sat in worried silence. The humans had not just won. They had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same. Something new was rising. And its name was humanity. The council was breaking apart. In the Great Hall, where they had ruled for 50,000 years, the 12 elder species now screamed at each other like enemies. Some demanded immediate war against humanity. Others called for peace before more damage was done. The unity that had held them together for millennia was crumbling like old stone. Councillor Morthax stood in the center of the chaos, his voice rising above all others. We must destroy them completely, he shouted. Every ship, every colony, every last human. We must burn their world to ash and scatter the ashes across the void. If we do not, others will follow their example. Our empire will fall. Councillor Velith shook his head. He looked tired. He looked old. We have tried force. It did not work. Perhaps it is time for a different approach. Perhaps we should listen to what they actually want. Listen? Morthax laughed bitterly. You want to listen to animals? They should be exterminated, not negotiated with. They are not animals, said a new voice. Everyone turned. A small alien stood at the entrance to the hall. She had gray skin and large, dark eyes. She was Ceres, the informant who had helped humanity. Behind her stood others, representatives of species that had been integrated and controlled for thousands of years. They had come to the council's own hall, and they had come to speak. We have watched everything, Ceres said. We have seen what the humans did. We have seen them refuse to surrender. We have seen them fight and win. And we have decided that we want what they have. We want to be free. Morthax's face twisted with rage. He moved toward her, his massive body blocking out the light. You dare to come here? You dare to speak to us like this? You are property. You are nothing. I will kill you myself. He raised his arm to strike her. A shot rang out. Morthax staggered backward, clutching his shoulder. Captain Bake Sunho stepped out of the shadows, his weapon still pointed at the counselor. Behind him came Ambassador Yoon Nari and a squad of human soldiers. Touch her and the next shot goes through your head, Bake said calmly. Yoon walked to the center of the hall. She looked around at the shocked faces of the council members. She smiled. I believe you invited us to discuss integration, she said. We are here to discuss something else. Admiral Park's fleet held position outside the council's home system. They had not come to conquer. They had come to demonstrate. Human ships flew alongside vessels from a dozen other species. All of them former subjects of the council. All of them now demanding freedom. The message was clear. This was not just humanity's rebellion anymore. It was everyone's. Inside the hall, Yoon presented humanity's terms. We do not want your empire, she said. We do not want to rule over others the way you have ruled. We want something different. We want a galaxy where every species is free, where no one is integrated or absorbed or controlled, where every world can choose its own path. Impossible, Velith said. Without guidance, without control, there will be chaos. Species will fight each other. Worlds will burn. The galaxy will destroy itself. Maybe, Yoon said. Or maybe you underestimate what free people can build when they work together. You have controlled everything for so long that you have forgotten what cooperation looks like. You have forgotten what trust looks like. We will remind you. Morthax struggled to his feet, still bleeding from his wound. His eyes burned with hatred. This is not over, he said. The council will never accept this. I will never accept this. He reached for a hidden weapon. Before anyone could react, he pointed it at Yoon. Saris moved. She threw herself in front of the ambassador just as Morthax fired. The shot hit her in the chest. She fell to the ground and did not move. Bake shot Morthax 3 times. The counselor collapsed and did not get up again. Yoon knelt beside Saris. The alien's eyes were still open, but they were fading. Why? Yoon asked her. Why did you do that? Saris smiled weakly. Because you gave us hope, she whispered. For the first time in 10,000 years. That is worth dying for. Her eyes closed. President Moon So-hee addressed the galaxy. Her message was broadcast to every world, every station, every ship. Everyone listened. We came to the stars seeking freedom, she said. Not just for ourselves, but for all who want it. We have fought and bled and lost friends. But we have not lost hope. We believe in a galaxy where every species can determine its own future. Where the strong protect the weak, instead of consuming them. Where differences are celebrated, instead of erased. She paused. Her eyes were steady and kind. To those who have been controlled and oppressed, we say this. You are not alone. We will help you. We will stand with you. We will fight beside you until you are free. And to those who have done the controlling, we say this. The old way is over. You can join us in building something new, something better, or you can be left behind. The choice is yours. The council fractured. 3 species defected immediately, their representatives publicly declaring their support for humanity's vision. Others hesitated, watching to see what would happen. Only a few remained loyal to the old ways. But without Morthax's force and Velith's cunning, they had no power to stop what was coming. The Galactic Assembly was founded 6 months later. It was a new kind of government, based on equality and cooperation. Instead of control, every species had a voice. Every world had a vote. Decisions were made together, not imposed from above. It was messy and slow, and sometimes frustrating. It was also free. Earth was a founding member, but not the leader. President Moon insisted on that. "We did not do this to build our own empire," she said. "We did it to ensure no one ever builds an empire again." Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the Sovereignty and watched the first free fleet of the Galactic Assembly fly in formation. Human ships flew beside vessels from a dozen other species. Some had been enemies a year ago. Some had been enemies a year ago. Now they were allies, partners, friends. Ambassador Yoon joined him. She looked out at the fleet and smiled. "Do you think it will last?" she asked. Park considered the question. "I do not know," he said honestly. "Freedom is difficult. It requires constant work, constant attention. There will be problems. There will be conflicts. Maybe even wars. That does not sound very hopeful." "No. But it sounds real. And real things are worth fighting for." Lieutenant Cho Eun-ji, recovered from her wounds, flew her new fighter at the head of the formation. She had been offered a promotion, a desk job, a safe position away from danger. She had refused. The sky was where she belonged. Dr. Kang Jisoo returned to her laboratory. There was still so much to learn, so much to discover. The galaxy was full of mysteries, and now humanity was free to explore them all. Engineer Han Mireille began teaching others how to build dimensional drives. The technology would spread to every free world. No one would ever be trapped again. General Shin Tae-won retired to a small house on Earth. He had seen enough war for one lifetime. He spent his days in his garden, growing vegetables and watching the sky. And somewhere, in a quiet memorial on a world that had once been enslaved, there was a statue of Ceres. It showed her standing tall, looking up at the stars. The inscription said simply, "She gave us hope." Humanity had come to the galaxy expecting nothing. They had been told they were primitive, insignificant, not worthy of respect. They had been offered submission and called it a gift. They had refused, and in refusing, they had changed everything. Not through conquest, not through domination, but through the simple, powerful act of standing up and saying no, of insisting on their freedom and offering that freedom to everyone else. The galaxy was not perfect now. It would never be perfect. But it was free. And that was enough. That was everything.